Okay, I'm Basil Barrington. I am here with Jay Cunningham, brand marketing manager of Denon DJ. What's going on, Jay?
I'm doing very good, mate. Thank you very much, and a pleasure to be on the show.
It is not a problem. Now, Denon DJ has released something that looks extremely exciting, the LC6000. Interestingly enough, back in January of this year, I saw DJ Pierre do a DJ set. I think it was in conjunction with Denon DJ and Beatport Link, and he was rocking the two SC6000s in something that looked like an LC6000. So I want to know, like, how long has the LC6000 been in development?
It's been in development for quite a while. I'd say probably the best part of 2 years plus. A lot of thought and development goes into all of the products. As a lot of people that are familiar with the products that we have, we've been very much on the forefront of innovation and pushing technology and features forward. So giving that opportunity and that time to be able to really explore what that next piece of hardware or that next engine OS update can do is really important to kind of get that right. So yeah, a good couple of years, and it's it feels really really good to finally get it out there and let people see it now.
That looks like a pretty awesome piece of gear. Now, I was reading your press release, and this is priced at $699 USD all in. So you have
Um,
all of this, you have all of the great tech and all these features inside of the LC6000. How were you able to get it at the 699 price point, which I think is a great price? So how were you guys able to do that when this the LC6000 is so, packed with all this tech and features?
it's a great question. It was a challenge, but ultimately the LC6000, ends up being this most versatile DJ controller, and the concept of it actually evolved. So essentially, the initial idea was to be a complement to the SC media player range. So it will work with the SE5000 and the M, the SE6000 and the M as well. And the idea initially was to take away those kind of performance limitations and that kind of slight confusion that DJs would have when using the dual layer. Now, those of you that use a four-channel controller will know exactly what I mean, switching between layers 2 and 4 or 1 and 3 or A and C or whatever it may
Right,
be. Even just saying it gets confusing, right?
right,
Um, you know that ability that the SC players have had, since the 5000 and actually since before that, gives DJs the opportunity to play two audio outputs from one player. So that's two separate songs that you can mix. And how we were able to achieve that with the SC players was by giving a dual layer so that you can control a mix from one unit.
right.
So the design for that was to have that as a DJ controller, a layer controller, hence the LC. That's what that stands for. And what that does is it plugs in as it's bus powered, so it will just work off just a USB cable. As you can see from the back there, there's a USB-P port. There's also a
Right.
power port and also the power. I mean, that's it. All of the hard work is done in the SC players. So all of the audio processing, all of the streaming, all the connectivity, all of that stuff is all done within that player. The LC6000 acts as a separate control surface that mimics all of that control. So the idea behind that and the design for that was to ensure that the familiarity between the 6000, the latest range of the SC players, for the M version, and specifically the 6000, SC6000, was to ensure kind of continuity, not just for look, but also for, components, to ensure that the performance tools, everything that a DJ needs is now there on that separate layer.
Right.
Now, obviously, once that concept had kind of built up, you're essentially making a DJ controller. So we started looking at the idea of approaching some of the software partners that we will have fantastic relationships with, and they were really excited about it. So we got on board with all of them and made them native to Serato DJ Pro, to Virtual DJ, but also Algorithm DJ Pro AI for their desktop. And this blows me away, but also the iOS app. So
Oh my
this will actually
goodness,
work
that
with the
is
with
awesome.
the iPad app, as
Mhm.
well as, you know, the iPhone app as well. So, you know, this is, you know, seeing the evolution of this behind the scenes has just been amazing. But, you know, it's very key for Denon DJ. The ethos is pretty simple. It's about pushing technology forwards, pushing the art form of DJing forwards through creative performance, and being able to do that through strong, rugged, reliable build, and keep that cost at a price point that it should be, to have DJs be able to adopt and come into our ecosystem.
Exactly. Just this is just a side note. My opinion. I think that Denon DJ is the most innovative technology DJ company on the market. I mean, if you just look at all of these other sort of companies doing great things, right? But I just think like how you guys push the envelope and put all the tech inside of these devices. No one else is doing it like that, you know. So kudos to you guys. So let me ask
Well,
you, the and this is the thing that sort of confused me, but like once I dug into sort of the documentation, it did not. But just so everyone would know, the LC6000, you don't need an SC6000 to use the LC6000. Is that correct?
that is correct. So there are, I mean, there are so many different use cases that are out there, but let me just break down some of the key ones for us. So if you are an existing Denon DJ owner and you own one of the SC players, whether it be the 5000, the M, the SE6000, or the M, the USB cable from the LC6000 simply just plugs into the back. The Engine OS software that's on board the existing SC player will automatically detect the LC. It will split the waveform into a dual layer waveform to be able to give you that full view of the waveform. So it's native to Engine OS devices within Denon DJ. You know, it's important to understand. I just want to kind of recap that, because again, that's a really kind of powerful thing for us to be able to talk about. Engine OS, you know, it's a great partnership of Denon DJ and Engine OS. You know, Denon DJ has the forward-thinking hardware, solid build reliability, and it is powered and supported by Engine OS. And again, this is something that's very new and never really been done before within DJ hardware. You know, typically it would come with a firmware that would,
Right.
you know, for a DSP-based unit, for example,
Hmm.
which, you know, you would get incremental firmware updates that may do bug fixes. You might got a small new feature. But with Engine OS, you know, it is an OS, it's an operating system. You know, within the SC media players, there is like a laptop inside of these things, the
Right.
processing power that is
Yes.
running Engine OS. So, you know, I often have to pinch myself when I look back at the story of Engine OS and where it came from to where it is now. And it's phenomenal, like the amount of updates, new features that we've been able to bring with that. And that's been really key and essential to ensuring that you get the most out of hardware. So, sorry, I took a little bit of a side trip there. So, to answer the question, you don't just need an an SC6000, excuse me. In those two use cases, you can have just a setup like you're seeing now. So, you can just have one SC media player and one LC media player. So, you're essentially getting a 2-deck Pro setup with a
That's
full
very
eight and a
cool.
half inch jog wheel. And this is a very cost effective solution. You know, I encourage anyone, you know, to do the math on that and work out just how cost effective that is to do that.
Really quick
The other,
side note, right?
sorry.
I think people don't understand that, that was extremely helpful what you just said, just saying that, hey, Engine is actually an OS. You guys put basically an operating system into these devices. That is extremely important to know. And you've done it where it's sort of affordable too. You're not paying like $2,600, $2,800 for like a controller or something like that. It's just like hey, these things are like consumer friendly. You know, you're going to get some pro and you may have to like spend some money, but you don't have to break the bank when you want like a pro piece of gear. So that's very good to know.
Do you know what? And just one really important part of that is that you are future proofing yourself for your investment in your DJ
Right.
setup.
Right.
Because Engine OS is ever evolving and there are continued updates, new features, improvements. If you had bought an SE6000 back in January last year and had Engine OS, I can't recall exactly what version number it was, and you have the same unit with up-to-date Engine OS, the new features that we have added on top of that is phenomenal. You know, streaming just on its own, it warrants a whole separate conversation about being able to bring in not only Tidal,
Mm-hmm.
Beatport,
I
Beatsource,
love that.
SoundCloud Go,
Yes.
but now you can connect your personal Dropbox account. So this is literally, you know, unlimited. The whole industry is a very powerful movement, right? And you know, we've done some research and looked at the way that the DJ booth and generally the pattern of DJs and how they use media is a roughly 10 years behind how consumers listen to music. So
Right.
if you look at the movement from vinyl to CD, CD to MP3,
Mm-hmm.
and MP3 to streaming, we're now at that kind of 10-year mark with the likes of kind of Spotify, etc., that have been around for 10 years.
Right.
So the excitement behind this streaming and being able to keep up and not actually, sorry, keep up is the wrong word, to actually lead, you know, these trends is hugely powerful. And that's what brings us, that what's brought us to the Beatport partnership with the Link Sessions. This is about showcasing credible underground influential DJs adopting the next evolution of DJ media and how they use that in the booth.
Right. I mean,
But I've
mhm.
diverted again, right?
No,
Still
this
haven't
is really
answered 2
good. I
questions
mean,
ago.
this is excellent because, again, I think it's important that people know, DJs know, in terms of technology, innovation, that these devices have operating systems inside of them. I mean, who does that? That's like you're on a different level when you do that. The other thing is, you know, when you're doing those sessions with Beatport Link, and like I said, I was checking out DJ Pierre's DJ set. Man, did you see his like whole setup? That was like ridiculous. I was like, wow, this guy, he had on the outfit, and I was like, man, his whole studio is so awesome. But that was a really good DJ set as well. Let me ask you another
Do you know what?
question. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
Just
ahead.
sorry, just for me, it was all about the outfit. The outfit fit. He did actually look like he was at the controls of like the
Right.
Enterprise. So apologies. I do want to answer that question in
Yeah.
full because you do not need just an SE6000. You
Yes.
can do any of those. But think about this: the LC6000 is a DJ controller.
At
It
his
is an
core.
official
Hmm.
Serato accessory. It is plug and play with any Serato compatible mixer or 4-channel controller. It's plug and play with virtual DJ, with algorithm DJ as well. It is hugely flexible and versatile in how you can use this. You know, one of the things that we are really excited to see over the coming months, because this is also the case that it is show and ship, so they are available in your local retailers and dealers right now, is to start seeing how people are going to use these. We were already blown away with one review who not only tested it out with a 4-channel controller, but did it with a Hercules 2-channel controller.
Oh,
Now, obviously, it's a
really?
bit of an odd setup, right? Because the
Hmm.
controller's already got two platters on there. But
Right.
to prove a point to show how versatile this was, you can replace those two. I'm not sure what size those jog wheels were, but you could replace those with two 8.5-inch full professional club standard
Wow.
jog wheels. You know,
Yeah.
it's mind bending. Yeah, as I say, it's exciting times going forwards to be able to see, you know, how people are going to use these within their setup.
I mean, imagine the possibilities of the LC6000 with the new Apple iPad Pro M1. Imagine that, right? It's just like, hey, now you can use algorithms DJ and you're connecting this LC6000 into an iPad. I mean, the possibilities are just so ridiculous. Uh,
Yeah.
so I noticed that in some of these pictures, you obviously have either you're rocking either the Denon 1800 or 1850 DJ mixer. Are there other? Will you actually release a list of compatible DJ mixers that you can use with the LC6000, or is that really contingent on if your DJ mixer actually works with the specific DJ software that you're using?
It is exactly the latter. So, as
Okay.
far as mixer compatibility, as long as the mixer unlocks that piece of software,
Hmm.
Serato, algorithm, or virtual, it will work with it because it plugs directly into the laptop. As soon as you plug it in, it flashes up the first four buttons to indicate, which deck would you like to control. You can select any one of them. You can change it very easily just by hitting Shift. And away you go. You just then can select other deck. I mean, you could use one of these to control all four decks if you wanted to.
Wow.
It's entirely up to you. But
Right.
it will also work, if you have a USB audio interface, any of the Rain SL interfaces, for
Okay.
example, if that is
Hmm.
unlocking Serato, or any four channel or any DJ controller. If the DJ controller unlocks that software, with the four channel one or two channel one, you can plug in the
Right.
LC6000.
Hmm.
It's probably easier to list the things that it can't do rather than the things that it can do because it'd be a lot shorter list.
That is so true. Now, this thing, you mentioned that this thing works with Serato, Virtual DJ, Algorithms, DJ Pro, AI. Are there any in the future? Are there any other DJs that may come on board so that the LC6000 can work with those DJ softwares as well?
So obviously we can't divulge into anything until it's kind of set in stone. But I can say that we are talking to other partners as well.
Mhm.
It's key for us that aligns with the Denon DJ ethos is to ensure that these products, continue to grow, to continue to offer value. And appeal to a wide range, and this product specifically, the LC6000, appeals to already such a huge and wide range of DJs across multiple software platforms, hardware case uses, from your beginner all the way up to your professional. So
Right.
watch this space.
It's so interesting because again, at the price point 699, you're all in. If you needed two, you're all in at $1,400, right? So
Yep.
again, I think that that's really important to note because there are other systems out there all in. You may be paying 6,000, 6,500 for a complete system, two, CD turntables and a mixer. With these two, if you bought two of these, 1,400, you're all in, and this thing is working. And here's the other thing I think too, right? Some DJs may sort of like freak out because the LC6000 doesn't have a screen. But there are a lot of DJs okay with that because a lot of DJs are fine with connecting their laptop. So now you have the power of the LC6000 and also the power of the DJ software being used on the laptop. So I really don't see any complaints here.
I mean, if you are a Serato user, for example, I would gauge that a majority of Serato DJ users are looking at the laptop.
Right.
There is hardware out there like the Rain 72 Mark II, which does have an inbuilt screen, which gives you a lot of key essential information from Serato.
Right.
But a lot of DJs, feel comfortable with that laptop. So, in that particular scenario, there's no change, there's no difference. You've got your unit. When
Right.
it comes to working with the SC players, there's a 10.1 inch high resolution multi-gesture touchscreen on there. There is enough information on there for you to get everything that you need to be able to split that between those two. So
Right.
I think whichever your preference is, there's a solution and a workable option in there for them.
Exactly. Now, the engine OS is also installed on the LC6000, correct?
So the Engine OS is not within the LC6000, so it
Okay.
draws all that information from the SE6000. Essentially, what the LC6000 is doing is providing MIDI information to either the SC media players within the Denon DJ range, or it's
Mhm.
providing it to a laptop and to the software as well.
Right. So if I had two LC 6000s, in the future there will be, I would imagine, updates on this. How expandable is the LC6000 on its own? Like once you guys provide the firmware updates, this, everything else. And the reason why I'm asking is because can I see this unit getting even more advanced with the updates? Is that something like in the cards for the LC6000?
So the LC6000, essentially is a control unit, right? It's a DJ
Mm-hmm.
controller. So, I've no doubt that at some point in the future there will be a firmware update specifically, but the functionality of the LC6000 will all depend on a number of things. One, if you're using it in the Engine OS ecosystem, it will be the Engine OS device update that will then do something different with the LC6000. The same goes for all of the software partners that we're working with as well. At the moment, they're doing everything that a DJ needs, offering, all of that, tactile control from the platter, the pitch, all of the performance pads, from, sampler, roll, loop, hot cue,
Mm-hmm.
all the auto loop features. So everything that a DJ needs right now, they have that control. But who's to say, how the software platforms will evolve over the years
Right.
and over time. They only do one thing generally, right? And that's get better.
Exactly. That is so true. Now, this is my last question. Denon DJ, and just I guess also Rain, which is also in the In Music brand family, but specifically Denon DJ, you guys are sort of just rocking out the motorized platters. No one is doing that better than Denon DJ, right? So
Thank
here
you.
we have the LC6000. Are we going to see, Jay? Here's your time. Here it is. Are we going to see an LC6000M?
That would be awesome, right?
Right?
Do you know what? The we would never divulge any information like
Right, right,
that.
right.
But what I will say is that Denon DJ, is wholly committed to this art form of DJing and pushing it forward. And to do that, we have to listen to our customers. We want to listen to our customers. We
Yeah.
do listen to our customers. We have a dedicated section on our forum specifically for feature requests, and it works on a little voting system. So if you join the forum and you see something you think, I like that idea, you can vote for it. That forum is looked at by everyone within the company, from
Right.
product engineers to software engineers, the marketing department, you name it. Sales look at it as well. We also monitor socials very closely on a daily basis, and it's important that we not only kind of provide support to our customers, but we really want to make sure that they are heard. And because we're in this amazing position of innovation and forward thinking and really pushing DJ technology to its limits and beyond, part of that is what the DJs want. You guys are the ones that are on the ground, that are working. Tell us what you want, we'll take it on board. And I'll revert to my earlier comment of watch this space. It'd be very interesting to see, how heavily requested the an M version of the LC6000 is.
That
I
would be
know I've
pretty
been
awesome.
scouring all of the comments over the last 24 hours, and there's definitely been a few people already that have raised their hands. So it's you've got our attention.
Exactly. Jay Cunningham, brand marketing manager for Denon DJ. Take us out of here with your social, and how can we as DJs purchase this? Is there a specific, retailer, or is it just available right now?
So the best thing to do is if you go to denondj.com and click on Find a Dealer. You will also find it on the product page for the LC6000. I'd encourage users to go there if you haven't. We tell a phenomenal story and information about the LC6000, and there's a link there of where to buy. It'll take you to a page where you can put in your area, and it will give you a list of all the dealers and retailers within your reach. And I would encourage people to check out the Denon DJ YouTube page. We have a ton of videos that have come out for launch. We've got a launch video, which gives a nice high-level overview of the product. We've got an in-depth feature overview video with our product marketing manager, Jason Stout, who always does a sterling job in giving great, clear, concise information. And what we've also done is we've done a couple of quick start videos as well for all of those that are interested in the software side of it, whether you're Serato, Virtual DJ, or Algorithms DJ.
Yep.
We've done a short video just to help explain what you need, how to connect it, what functionality you've got as well. And there's more videos coming as well. We've got a load of performance videos. There's some great independent third-party reviews out there, but do go to denondj.com, sign up to our newsletter. If you have got a product, then do sign up and create an account for yourself, because we're offering 3 free subscriptions trials for SoundSwitch, Tidal, SoundCloud Go. Dropbox are giving a 25 gig boost on their on your Dropbox account to test out the new feature. And coming very, very soon is a trial period for Beatport Link and BeatSource as well. So if you have got a Denon DJ product, do make sure you go and register it, because you've got access to all of that. You can use all of them if you want. Go crazy. Of course, please do check us out on Instagram, Facebook page for Denon DJ Official, and also our Twitter as well.
There you go. Jay Cunningham. Thanks, man.
Great. Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure being on here, and thanks everyone for listening in.